first time I clocked out of that gas station, the night manager gave me one rule. Never count the cars in the back lot. I thought it was a joke. 3 weeks later, I counted them anyway. There were 7 cars. We only had 6 employees. For months after that, the police found a man living beneath the store. And taped to the wall of his underground room were photographs of me. The oldest one was taken 4 years before I ever set foot in that place. I only took the night shift because I needed money badly enough to ignore how isolated the station was. A fuel and go off Route 9. 11 at night to 7 in the morning. Cornfields on 3 sides, a dead motel across the highway, and a black tree line behind the back lot. The nearest house was 4 miles away. At 2 in the morning, you could go an hour without a single car. And the silence got so heavy it felt like a hand on the back of your neck. Dale trained me. Tired eyes. A man who'd forgotten daylight. On my way out that first night, he said it dead flat. Don't count the cars in the back lot. Then he laughed, like it was an old joke, and went inside. 3rd week, hauling trash, I could see the lot. So I counted. 7. Staff parking. 6 of us. 6 cars. But there was a 7th. A gray sedan. Older model. Nose in against the tree line, where the lights didn't reach. I figured it was abandoned. People dump cars in the middle of nowhere all the time. Next night, it had moved. 2 spaces over. Closer. Something hanging from the rearview mirror now. I told myself someone reparked it during the day. Back then, I was very good at reaching for normal explanations. Because the alternative meant I was alone, for miles from anything, with something I didn't understand. Then something started taking food from the store. And it never used the front door. We logged the roller grill food. You count the hot dogs at the start and end of every shift. One morning, I counted 11 where I'd counted 14 at 2 a.m. I hadn't sold 3. I hadn't sold anything after 1:30. The door chimes when it opens. It hadn't chimed. I told Dale. He didn't laugh that time. He looked at me a beat too long, and said, "Recount at the start of your shift." Then he walked to the back hall, and stood in front of the walk-in cooler door for a full minute. Just staring at it. Before he left. The gray sedan was gone from the lot that night. First time ever. Like it had somewhere to be. Remember that. The car came and went, like a man with a schedule. So I started watching the hall camera on the monitor under the counter. Just background motion while I worked. And around 3 a.m., on the live feed, I watched the cooler door open from the inside. No one was in the building but me. The steel door swung open a foot. Hung there. Swung shut. No one came out. No one went in. I made myself go look. Mop handle in my hand like an idiot. I opened the cooler. Empty. Cold. The smell of refrigerant. Nothing. Then I saw it. One floor tile in the back corner wasn't sitting flush. A square outline, under the bottom shelf. A shelf that was always loaded. Except now it was 3 boxes light. The same 3 I'd written off. I didn't lift it. I'm not brave. I put the shelf back, went up front, and stopped dead. There was a photograph taped to the wall behind the register. A Polaroid. Of me. Standing at that exact register. In the clothes I was wearing right then. My eyes half closed, mid-blink. It was taken that night. Taken while I was in the back. In the cooler. 10 feet from the hatch. He'd been up here. While I was down there. We had missed each other, by a wall. I called Dale at 5 in the morning. He didn't pick up. I sat by the door until sunrise, when Priya came in for the morning shift, looking like she'd slept 3 hours. I asked her, keeping my voice flat, if she knew there was a hatch in the cooler floor. The color left her face. Dale told you not to count the cars, right? I said yeah. Then quit. Don't give notice. Don't come back tonight. A customer walked in. She smiled and rang up their coffee like nothing. But as I left, quietly, almost to herself, she said it. The last guy who looked in the cooler didn't quit. He just stopped showing up. They never found his car either. I should have listened. But I needed the money. So I came back. I just brought a flashlight, and I started watching the old footage. The drive scrubs back 2 weeks. Night by night. 3 a.m. by 3 a.m. The cooler door opened almost every night. Always between 3 and 4. Always from the inside. On some nights, after it shut, a shape crossed the bottom of the frame. Low. Fast. Toward the front of the store. And never once onto the register camera. Like it knew where every lens was, and stayed under them. The oldest footage on the drive was 13 days back. The door opened that night too. This had been going on longer than the machine could remember. And in the corner of every one of those nights, the gray sedan sat a little closer to the door than the night before. A countdown I'd been watching for weeks. Without understanding what was running out. Then I found something that nearly made me quit on the spot. There'd been a night manager before Dale. A name on the old schedules taped in the office. A man named Russell. I'd assumed he transferred. But Russell was the one who installed the cameras. Russell was the one who set the loop to overwrite every 2 weeks. I remember thinking, that's convenient. 2 weeks is exactly long enough that no one ever sees a full month. For one cold hour, I was certain Russell was the man under the store. It made perfect sense. It wasn't Russell. I want to be clear about that, because I wasted a night being afraid of the wrong man. Russell had died in a car accident a year earlier. The detective confirmed it. Whoever was down there had simply learned the system Russell built. And used it. That was the night I lifted the tile. I waited until 4:30, after the door had gone still. Because some animal part of me had decided whatever used the hatch was done for the night. I pulled the shelf. Got my fingers in the gap. And lifted. It came up too easy. Like it had been lifted 1,000 times. The smell rose up. Earth, and cold, and something sweet rotten under it. A basement that's also a grave. A ladder. 12 feet down to a dirt floor. The missing boxes, stacked neat. Water bottles. A nest of blankets. A camping lantern. And taped to the dirt wall, in a long column, photographs. Of me. At the register. Mopping. Through the glass, from the dark of the lot. Dozens of them. And at the very bottom, yellowed at the edges, me, 19, in front of a coffee shop 2 towns over. Where I'd worked 4 years ago. He'd been following me, for 4 years. I climbed that ladder so fast I tore the skin off 2 knuckles. I dropped the tile. Jammed the shelf back. Ran up front to call the police. And the door chimed. Understand the timeline. It was 4:40. The cooler thing happened between 3 and 4. Every night, I told myself the same lie to feel safe. That whatever it was went down before dawn, and stayed down. I'd built everything on that. That he was in the hole. But the blankets were empty. The lantern was cold. I'd thought that meant he was gone. It meant he was already upstairs. He'd come up before I came down. I'd climbed into his bed while he stood somewhere in my building, watching me find it. The door chimed because he wanted me to know. The lights died, whole station, pumps and all, black. And in that black, a voice. Calm. Almost gentle. From the back hall. It said my name. My real name. The one I never told a soul at that job. I went over the counter, hit the front door, ran out into the lot, no plan, just away, and made it 40 feet before I realized I was running toward the tree line, not the road. I turned. The gray sedan was there. Right there. Parked across the front of the building now, between me and the road, headlights off. A man was getting out of it, slow, unbothered. The car had never been abandoned. It had moved closer every week because he moved it. Patient. Counting down to the night I finally looked. I never saw his face. The lot lights were dead and he kept his back to the one that wasn't. Just a shape, tall, unhurried, a man stepping out of a car like he'd done it 100 times. That's the image I can't get rid of. Not a monster. A man who wasn't in any hurry, because he'd already decided how the night ended. What saved me was a dog. A long-haul trucker who stopped a couple times a week had a rescue pit named Sugar. He wasn't scheduled. No reason to be there at 4:40 in the morning. But his rig came off the highway right then, headlights sweeping the lot, across me, across the man, and the man froze and turned his face from the light, and that half second was everything. I ran at the truck screaming. Sugar going insane through the glass. The trucker threw his door open, saw my face, didn't say what's wrong, said who, and I pointed. The sedan was already pulling away. Calm. No screech of tires. Just taillights down Route 9, like a man heading home after a long shift. They never caught him. The sedan was registered to a dead man. The prints in the hole matched no one. Dale quit that day, left the state, never returned a call. Priya gave notice and would only say she'd warned every new hire for 2 years, that the rule had always kept her safe. Don't count the cars. Don't look in the back. Don't make him think you noticed. He didn't hurt the ones who didn't notice. He just watched. I noticed. There's one thing the police never explained, and it's the part one think about most. Down in that hole, beside the blankets, there was a second set of keys. Not to the station. Not to the sedan. House keys, on a worn leather fob, and stamped into the leather were my initials. I have never owned keys like that in my life. They ran them. Nothing. The detective asked if they meant anything to me. I said no. I lied. Because I recognized the fob. My father carried one exactly like it when I was a kid, before he left. Same leather. Same stamp. I stopped using my old name when I was 12. The year he walked out. There is only one person alive who ever called me by it. I've moved 3 times since. I sleep with the lights on. And sometimes I wake at 3 in the morning, certain the room is colder than it should be, and I lie there wondering if he's still out there in the dark somewhere. Waiting for me to count something again.